Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Om. Namaste. Page, Lynn?
Oh, let's see.
50.
43. These, what is the final one?
43? You sure?
I think 43. We've gone through O, M, A, C, and we're doing T, as I recall.
Okay, 43. I was going to begin. Are you on the same, literally on the same page, Mark? Are we on the 43 page? Page 43?
Yeah, that's 43 page. There's two page numbers here. There's the page printed on the number printed on the page itself, and there's also the number of
okay. Now I understood. Okay. Now the confusion is solved. Understood. Thank you, Mark. Okay, though. Okay. So we have seen the definition of matter. Is that which can be objectified. It's determined. It is defined by its attributes, and it is object. M is material, and their attributes. C goes to I forgot the C, please.
Changing.
Yeah, it's changing from moment to moment, and then it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's a temporary phenomenon. Okay, so anything in the world we experience and know is within that classification, OMACT. Okay, and then on the development, we will come to the definition then of the spirit, right? Matter, which is, matter and energy. Energy is also a phenomenal object. And spirit. The spirit is just the negation, the opposite of everything that defines, which is within that denomination OMACT. So we've seen that the temporary nature of everything that is an object of knowledge experience is one of the most indignating. I don't know if there is such a word in English. I mean, it's very tough for human beings to accept the time, the temporarity of a lifetime. Oh no, yeah, I'm a billionaire now, and I can't accept mortality. I mean, so I'm going to create an avatar, and I will live forever as a cyborg. So that will not do, as we know. Everything that's born must die. The only way we can really enjoy our eternal nature is by shifting our sense of identity from the matter, the body, mind, sense, matter, energy, to the spirit, which is our true nature. And that the temporary thing presented by Vedanta is not only the fact that we have a date of birth and a date, obituary date as well, but it's explained in a more sophisticated way. It's temporary because it lasts only during the waking state. The Vishwa, which is the conscious experience entity, it disappears in the dream state and sleep state. So it's cyclically appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing every 24 hours. So, which is a different way to understand the temporary nature of this body-mind sense complex, or this sense of identity, you know, which emerge from within this body-mind sense complex. So one way to see is like, I was born, I'm getting older, I will die. The other is, oh my God, I'm not available at all times. I disappear during the dream and deep sleep states. Right? So the dream universe is in the dream state. The awaker has no access to that. Each one of these states is available only to that kind of body, you know, that vehicle of experience, you know. So, but how about the Atma? How about the self? Well, how about consciousness, you know, which is the Adhisthanam? It's there behind all the three states. It serves as the base on which Maya plays with the gunas to create the three entities. So, and that is the base, our true nature, which is not subject to temporality. It does not arrive and then does not depart. When the states change, there is something that remains, is something that transcends all the states. Okay, those are the 5 features of the Atma. So therefore, the 5 features of the Atma must be only what? The opposite of the 5 features of the Anatma world. What is this spiritual principle which enlivens the material body? So please, what is this mind of the mind, the ear of the ear, the eye of the eye? What is this conscious spiritual principle? And then Swami Ji moved into the next class. He does the usual recap. He mentioned about the first mantra that says, the disciple asked, by whose will direct does the mind proceed to its objects? At whose command does the prana, the foremost, do its duty? At whose will do men utter speech? Who is the God that directs the eyes and the ears? So here he's already referring to that as God, the Atma, the DEVAH, as Swami unfolds here. In the text, it presents, it's that right away it's direct connect to God. What is God? It's consciousness. Consciousness is God. So how so? Yeah, it's God. So it's not the human reflect consciousness, but it's the true nature of the human consciousness is God. Oh, and then I'm God. No, your true nature is God. It depends on how you define yourself. If you define yourself as the mind is not really God, but the true nature of the mind is God. So then what is this deal of self-knowledge? It's just to recognize and own and claim your true nature and live from that perspective of knowledge, perspective of understand. I'm the eternal consciousness. That's my true nature. It manifests as the mind. The mind has all kinds of limitation, but I am this limitless principle. It's so simple, this shift of identity that solves our problems, you know? And we don't need to become a superhuman and develop all kinds of limitlessnesses, you know? It's just a shift. In spite of all limitation of the body-mind, I understood my true nature and I claim that to be my true identity. So that's all there is to it. It's the most simple thing, and people do not believe that that can have a transformational power. People believe that that is a nice philosophy, but so what? You know, they do not believe that there is a transformation, which is the anam phalam, that must follow this understanding. So he reminds us that the first thing is the world is an object, it's inert by nature. The world has 5 features. And the body in the first verse, he addressed that in his unfoldment. So the body and the mind also have the same 5 features. It means to say that the body is an object, it's not the subject. The mind is an object, that is the toughest one. The mind, dresses itself as the ultimate subject and keeps itself out of the picture. No, the mind must be objectified. Otherwise, you're never going to make this viveka between you, consciousness, and the mind. The mind is going to remain superimposed on consciousness, and we miss it. We miss our true nature. So the mind must be objectified as part of this OMACT, which are the 5 features of the anathema. Therefore, the body-mind is inert because it has got all the same features of the anathema world. I'm integral. There are 2 aspects to myself. One aspect of myself is integral part of the mithya anathema projection, and the other part of myself is not part, but it's free and independent as the Atma. And anything that happens in this anathema mithya universe depends on me in my true nature as the Atma. So remember, in Sanskrit, we have used 5 words. Those are the 5 features of the anathema. Okay. Material is matter, it's energy, it has attributes, and so on. It's always changing, it's temporary, and so on. So when we say that the world is an object, there was a time that I was not missing an opportunity to always attach to an object of experience. Why? Because anything you experience is an object, because it's something other than the seer, the knower, the witnessing conscious principle. Anything that is an object, it's easier understood as an object of experience / knowledge. Anything I know, anything I experience, anything I witness is an object. Why? Because it must be something other than the seer. Well, other than consciousness, my true nature. Object always means objects of experience or object of knowledge. It is made of matter, energy, and it is defined by its attributes. So this mithya anathema world is a flux of a continuous changing we have no control upon. We never know. There are some laws operating there. We don't know if the change is going to be good or bad. Nowadays, changes appear to be really going south, as James liked to use in the past. I don't know, but it's changing, okay? And it appears and disappears according to our state of mind. And during the awake state, it appears. When I go to sleep, the entire cosmos disappears. So it has a transitory nature seen from this angle, which is the most profound, the most philosophical, and the most truthful, okay? Vedanta means it's available only during the awakened state. This is the most sophisticated understanding of the impermanent temporary nature of the body, mind, and the world. So we have noted those 5 features of the anathema world: matter, energy. But because they object experience, no doubt they are intimate objects. So the body-mind is so intimate. That is the problem. The identification with this object is when you have something which is so close, so close, so close to you, you get confused and you don't know what is you and what is this object. You understand? It's like wearing something that you never stop wearing, you know, suppose a pair of glasses. I have only one, I only like this model, I live with this, you know, and it's so intimate that I forget that I'm free and independent from that pair of glasses. So the body-mind is an instrument, a medium for a transaction. So who am I if the body-mind is just a mere instrument of transaction, interaction with the world during my awakened state, most, you know, most relevantly. You know? So who am I? You know, even though they are intimate, even though they are instruments without which I cannot live in this world, you know, but they are an object. And how do I know? I know that I know my body-mind, and my body-mind does not know me. How you know your body-mind? Because I know my body-mind changes, appears, disappears. I wake up in the morning, it appears. I fall into sleep, it disappears. You know, I experience it directly, and I know its attributes. I know it changes in a way that it becomes a little better in some aspects and a little bit worse in some others. You know? So it's so clear the body-mind is an object, and yet it seems to be not that simple and easy to break the identity with this instrument, you know. It's very intimate, that's the problem. But no matter how intimate, it's still an object. How so? Oh, because I experience it and I know it. Yeah. Okay. Similarly, when I wake up in the morning, first experience I have what? When we get up in the morning, and then, you know, depending on our mood, we may say, oh no, not again, the waking state. If we are going through too much trouble, you know, problems, concerns, oh no, not again, I was enjoying deep sleep, there were no problems there. So the first thing you experience is the mind. And then through the mind, we experience, you know, the day, our awakened state, the world, regardless of its conditions. So the mind, the body-mind, the mind more specifically is our most fundamental primary instrument through which we experience the world. So therefore it says a lot. Just imagine if you have a pair of glasses that it's old, full of scratch, dirt, you know, and it's, you know, it's really bad shape. It's not a good instrument allowing you to experience your environment. So you need to take care of this most fundamental primary instrument by which you experience and know the world, you know. But we should never miss or forget or lose the perspective that this body-mind is itself an instrument. Therefore, my goal is not to create, you know, a pair of glass that spectacles that are perfect. No, I don't want a body-mind that's going to be wonderfully pure and sophisticated and refined. I am the Superman. No, there is no such a thing. Our goal is to keep it okay, to keep it healthy, to the best of our possibility, according to our karmas as well, and make the best use of the instrument, get self-knowledge, and get out of this game. Because you never know to which direction the game is going to turn. So the first thing we experience the mind, the second thing we experience the world, and we cannot experience the world without experience the sense organs. So we miss, usually we never really know, oh, now I'm experiencing sense organ. The sense organ is implied because you cannot experience the world without experience the sense organ. So the entire instrument, okay, this complex instrument is an object, is an instrument, as it says, so that we can contact this world of matter/energy. So am I ready to accept that I am just an object? Am I happy with the definition that I'm just an instrument and that appears and disappears every 24 hours and has furthermore a date of birth and a date of death? So am I okay with this sense of identity? I am okay to have re-established my identity as this matter, body, mind, matter, changing, decaying, declining. Nobody feels comfortable with that sense of identity. The problem is very rarely you find somebody who begin questioning the fundamental problem, which is this mistaken identity with matter rather than with the spirit, which allows the configurations of namarupas, which are configurations of matter, of the gunas. So very rare individuals are going to refuse this condition in which one is mistakenly identified with matter. So therefore, we need to understand that it's an object like any other. Therefore, the student conclusion is that the body mind is also insentient. This is the first thing we have to understand. The light of consciousness that illumines and reveals everything, it does illumine and reveal first of all my body, my mind, my body, the sense, and then the world of objects. So it can only be inert. It can only be within that denomination, of the anathema. It's an object. It's inert by nature. The next step for the advanced student is that although this body-mind is inert, it appears to be sentient. The entire confusion in this New Age, Neo-Advaita, or spiritual, circles all over the planet is due to this confusion. They take the mind to be a self-contained, sentient principle. They can never understand that the mind does not have a self-contained, it does not have its own consciousness. It shines or reflects consciousness, which is the only real principle, the only sentient principle. If I come to the conclusion that the body-mind is inert, insentient, and then I have to say there must be a sentient principle, so, and the sentience does not belong to the mind because I have already established that the mind is insentient. I have already. How so? Because I can see the mind. Anything that can be objectified is not the subject. Is an object, changing object, appearing, disappearing object that changes because its attributes keep modifying a little bit. So we know that this body-mind is inert. But it's a hard one because it appears to be sentient. Therefore, I believe that my consciousness is expanding, it's growing. I start talking in terms that, oh, there are so many consciousness in this planet. Somebody else consciousness, somebody else, I mean, all this big talk about consciousness is just rubbish due to this confusion between the body-mind sense complex, which appears to be sentient, but it owns its sentience to a sentient principle, the only one, which is Brahman, which is TRAYA, which is the Atma, referred here as God. Oh, man, it's not possible. I know that I'm a sentient being. How so? I mean, if I pinch myself, I feel the pain of being pinched. I'm sentient. If I have a problem with one of my tooths, I can sense it, I can feel it. That is sentience. So how can I explain that? Very simple. There is something that makes the body-mind a sentient an instrument of experience. So how can I have sentience? And then we have to remember that if we cut our hairs, we don't have any feeling. The hair is not enjoying the sentience which is borrowed from the subtle body, which gets from consciousness, Atma, the only source, the only real principle with sentience. So it just borrows through the subtle body borrows to the physical body, with the exception of this kind of sentience, no? Except the nails and the hair, that we don't have any sensation, any feeling. By inference, we can understand that body does not have its own sentience. The body appears sentience, therefore it must borrow sentience from a different principle. Body does not have their own intrinsic nature of sentience, but it is endowed with a sentience, therefore it must be a borrowed sentience. And then we have several examples. No? We see, as I started presenting here, that it's not the entire body that feels and it has sentience, on the sense that I feel if something, hurts me or cuts me or something. There are some parts of the body that's not covered by that sentience. And maybe it's by design, intelligently designed, because I mean, we don't need to cut ourselves. I mean, there is no need for us to keep cutting ourselves, except if we have a surgery, and then we cut. And then the pain is so big that we have to go with anesthetic. No? But there is something about us that keeps growing. We would like not to grow, I mean, save money with haircuts. And also, oh, I like my hair like this, so please don't grow, but it keeps growing. So everybody has to keep cutting the hair and the nails. And therefore, the intelligent design say, let's be no pain there, no feeling, no sentience. Another example to look is the moon. The moon appears to have its own light, but as we know, now, the moon does not belong to the moon. The light does not belong to the moon. Moon does not have its natural intrinsic light. It's borrowed light, the same way the subtle body, which pervades the physical body, borrows its sentience from consciousness and passes it on to the physical body. So we borrow it from CAITANYAM, consciousness, which is the only source of consciousness, sentience. Sense organs must have borrowed sentience as well. Mind must have borrowed sentience as well. Why? because consciousness, sentience, above all, is that which is always ever present, beyond time and space, never modifying. And the sense organs, they disappear and appear again according to the states. They decline. Oh, my vision, oh my God, I already did surgery and this and that, I'm going blind. So the sense organs, the instruments of organ, they decline as well. So the sentience belongs to something that does not decline, does not change, which is the only definition of reality, that which is always ever there, never subject to change. So this is the second step of the reasoning that is going to allow us to work on this viveka, this discrimination between the only source of sentience, which is CAITANYAM, which is consciousness, and the body-mind-sense complex. This third step is the body-mind-sense complex must borrow. And if it borrows, it has to borrow from the central bank. So all small banks and medium banks lend money, borrow money from the central bank. So the body-mind-sense complex borrows sentience from the only source there is of sentience. A dena bank is necessary for one's customers. Therefore, his question is, what is that mysterious principle, entity that gives, borrows, lends sentience to the body-mind sense complex? Make it dance, makes it alive. Here in this Kenopanishad, the word used, this beautiful word, it's called God, deva. The question is short. What is this principle that enlivens the individual? It's God. Don't bring God into the equation, please. So I am an inquirer here. I'm an intellect. I'm a philosopher. When you bring God, you lose me. Oh, too bad. If you want to really get this knowledge and be free, you need to be a religious, spiritual person that succeeds into, inquiring into the nature of God, which is your very nature, because God is consciousness. By using our thinking itself, we can guess the answer. There must be something which lends life, sentience, consciousness to the human beings, and so on. He says, I am repeating, but be patient. There is a reason for repetition. The features of the anatma and the features of the atma. What is that enlivening? What is the enlivening principle? It's just the opposite of the features of the material, physical, inert world. Very simple. So therefore, its features are the opposite of all the features we have determined for the achetana world, inert world, matter and energy. So the opposite, okay? So it's not subject to objectification. It does not have any attribute. It does not change, and so on and so forth. The opposite features, vilakshanam means opposite features. Therefore, it must be known M-O-O. How you say in English this symbol? Lin.
The OMACT?
Okay,
I don't, no other suggestions.
okay, let's stay that way. And this is a very difficult definition, as we know. The moment that we say that the Atma is non-OMACT, the first one there is the most challenging. It's not subject to objectification. We are used to know things by objectifying and looking and studying, investigating, and getting to know something which is objectified, which means to say it has attributes of the gunas of Maya, yeah? And so on. It's not an objective experience, it's a very difficult one, because most minds cannot accept something that's not available for knowledge/experience. You cannot know it objectively, but you must know it if you have this kind of spiritual vasana, real spiritual vasana, you must know it. But you are never going to know it through the five senses and the mind. You're going to know it through the intellect, but in a different way. The intellect has to understand the non-OMACT nature of consciousness and stop trying to turn it, reduce it to an object of experience/knowledge. Therefore, searching for it objectively becomes a huge trap. The very search is based on the outwards orientation. It's something so subtle, so mysterious, but it's something other than myself. It must be out there. I need to objectify so that I can have an experience of the Atma, have an experience of God, have a knowledge of something other than myself. Other than myself is very important pointer. Vedanta says, stop your search. You are not an object out there that you need to contact to experience it. No. You are here as the light of consciousness searching for yourself. So what should it be? Not an object of knowledge, not an object of an experience. But at the same time, it does not mean that it's non-existing. It's non-existent. No, it exists, but never as an object of knowledge. You must know, but never as an object. How am I going to know? Just know yourself. Oh, I know myself. Oh, I know my mind. I know my psychology. So I'm very good to know myself. No, that is not the self the Upanishads refer to. The mind, the emotions, our psychology, our notions and concepts and beliefs, all of that, they are just objects, subtle objects. How so? I know them, they do not know me. They are inert. So the first effort, the first thing is stop the search, stop. And this can be misleading as well. You know, I remember Gangaji in the old days, she was repeating something that Papaji used to say, call off the search, call off the search, stop searching. That as well may become very misleading unless it is supported by very good and clear, repeated, you know, knowledge, contextualize, you know, not like boom, 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 boom. People on those days were listening that, call off this, oh, thanks God, my God, I was so tired of seeking and searching, you know, now I can finally relax. Because so-and-so told me that the search is the problem. The search is the problem for as long as you are searching out there. But even that cannot be said to be a problem. It's a natural process because of our human tendency of extroversion, of trying to know things always as something other than the self, myself, the seer, the knower. So don't stop the search. Search it in a different way in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads. You are not an object of knowledge. You can never be understood by the mind and the sense organs, but your intellect can understand it, not in an objective way, but understanding the nature of the light of consciousness, doing this search, which is your true nature, always ever present through all the three states, through all times, present, past, and future. Consciousness is the base, is the adhisthana. It's always there. So the teacher, has to be skilled to handle this situation so that the student does not go delusional. At the same time that the student puts up an effort to stop that extrovertedness. You must know, but you cannot know as you know anything else in science. So how I'm going to look for myself? Yes, Lee.
I'm not sure I know how to frame this question, but Nisargadatta used to say, stay with the eye sense. And I know you spent some time there. Is that just an initial come back from the world sort of thing? Or it also is an experience, right?
Yeah, it is an experience. Well, the eye sense, he used to call, the eye sense is a thought feeling, is you think I am and you are feeling. The feeling element is what was missing in most people's mind, trying to tap into that meditation, or sadhana. So once you go into the thought feeling, I am, I exist, you start enjoying yourself, experience bliss and peace and so on. And that is not really the Atma, but that is a reflection of the Atma. I missed your question. Can you repeat the first part of your question? Nisargadatta used to present that.
Yeah. Stay with the eye sense. So that is a feeling, and that is an experience, and that is not the self.
Yeah, the problem is that pointer there is a small element of knowledge, which is I am, I exist. Yeah, that's a good piece. You know that you are, you know that you exist. Don't define yourself. Don't bring in the gunas of Maya to say I am so and so and so. Stay as just conscious existence. But as I often say, if you stay as I am, you are going to almost invariably, you're going to come out of that state and the identification goes back to the body-mind. Why? Because I am must identify itself as Aham Brahmasmi. I am that Brahman. I am that consciousness, original consciousness, not just reflection of consciousness. You stay with I am is a good sadhana, but if it's presented as the ultimate, and he never really presented that as the ultimate. I stayed 10 years, 10 good years, inspired by him. It's not really presented as the ultimate, but you say, stay as that is pure consciousness. A moment will come that you're going to be transferred to the absolute. So going to the absolute to him, it appears to be Nirvikalpa Samadhi. You're going to go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi in which there is nothing. You understand? So those are all experimental pointers that become a problem as well. So what we were saying before is that you need to stop the search. And how are you going to stop the search? Oh, I am, I exist, I am, I exist. That's good. It's a good beginning. But that is going to help you to calm down the mind, to pacify the mind. And then the way you're going to transfer this sense of identity from the body-mind to consciousness is in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads. And then you have to go to the nididhyasana. Yeah? So how are you going to stop the search? You're going to stop the search of looking for yourself in a state of mind, in an experience, or any of these concept that you find in New Age world. Most of that, there is nothing to do with true spirituality. But then it comes a point that your mind is somehow, in spite of all the ignorance we find in the spiritual circles around the world, your mind goes purifying, refine itself, and then comes to a point that you have a pacified mind. And then when the mind is pacified, we have to go to the teachings of the Upanishads, which is the nididhyasana. Okay. The I am has to define itself as Aham Brahmasmi. Otherwise, it remains as a nice experience. So I exist, I know I exist, I'm conscious of my existence. So, and I need to know what is this conscious existence. I heard that it's this conscious existence, it's what allows me, this body-mind, to know that I'm conscious existence. So it seems there are two principles here. One is consciousness, and the other is the knowledge derived by consciousness, with the help of the scriptures, that allows me to understand that there are two principles. One is spirit, the other is matter. One is consciousness, and the other is reflect consciousness, which is matter. So I need to understand exactly where is this sentience, where is this consciousness coming from, because my body-mind does not have really intrinsically this consciousness. Well, so it appears, it disappears according to the state. It changes, and so on. And it can be objectified. Therefore, know that consciousness is your limitless nature. It does exist and must be known clearly, in this lifetime, and but never lose the perspective that what you are is not an object of knowledge or experience. If I'm not an object of knowledge/experience, so what can I be? There are only, in duality, there is only two factors: the experiencer, which is the subject, and the object, which is matter, energy. The experiencer, at the beginning, the inquirer believes that the experiencer is the body-mind, but then with deeper understanding, it's going to push the body-mind below the line between Atma and Anatma. Now, we're still having experience. Duality is the experience, the subject and the object, the experiencer and the experience. So you push everything below the line, between the two, between the line, Maya line, sometimes let's say. And then when everything, and then you have two principles, you did good viveka, you pushed everything to the light, to the side of Mithya Anatma. And still experience there, it means there is still a subject and an object. If I am really scrutinized the entire teachings to the point that I know that anything that I experience and know is the Anatma, and if there are only two principles operating, if I'm not any of these objects of knowledge experience, I must be in my true nature only the subject principle. I must be the subject principle. We will see that later in more details, but this is the most important conclusion any good inquirer must arrive to, I am the subject principle, the absolute subject principle. So Drisha Viveka, is this, you're going to just, stepping back to see the different levels of the seer, of the experiencer, of the know, until you come to the ultimate seer, which sees through the Anatma instrument, but it is the ultimate, the only true seer, lending sentience to the mind, intellect, the sense organs, sense instruments, and the world of objects of jivas as well. All jivas are dancing before our eyes as well, you know, and they get the same sentience. So going back to the material nature, this consciousness is no material. So it's beyond scientific knowledge. It's beyond matter, beyond energy, it's beyond silence. It is beyond scientific approach. Science is designed to study matter because all the instruments at our disposal, because all the instruments at our beck and call, all our instruments are designed to study matter, as we know. So the scientific instruments, they may be very sophisticated to study the micro and the macro, no? But what they have in common is that they can study and know things that can be objectified. So what I am is DEVAH, is God, is consciousness, not available through any instrument of knowledge. Oh, the science is really going deep into this, the micro to get the particle God, God particle there. It's not available. There is no scientific instrument that are going to allow you to come to that understanding. Maybe science is going to come to exhaustion and says, you know, it must be non-objectifiable because we tried everything. And there may be lights are going to go, oh, it must be the subject. When you just go searching for something, and you don't find anywhere that thing, chances are that they don't belong to that field of research, the field of knowledge. Okay, it yet can be known, but it does not belong out there to the field of phenomenal objects. And it's not objectifiable, and because it has no attributes as well, Kenopanishad puts it very clearly. It is attributeless. It's a very nice word. What is the fourth feature of this Atma? Well, the fourth one is that which never changes. These are very important feature, aspects of our true nature that it's important for us to keep in mind. Every time you feel that you are changing, now we must remember that I do not change. Therefore, I don't identify with the mind that changes, the intellect that changes, and the body that changes, the sense organs that change. I am the changeless, attributeless, changeless consciousness, God. Anything that changes is not the divine spirit, so it's neither matter and it's not energy as well. Very careful, it's not energy as well. Energy is subtle matter. Both of them are subject to change. Matter and energy are subject to change. In the last class, Swamiji reminded us that they are both interconvertible. The fifth and final feature is that it's bound by time. And in the Vedanta, sophisticated and refined definition, it's not that appears and disappears, because we may say like, no, it's not. Because even when my conscious mind, my human consciousness disappears, it's still being experienced and known by other people who are not sleeping, And then that definition is, forget about that. Our definition is going to take care of that. It means you yourself can experience it only during one of the three states. Therefore, it appears and disappears. Reality is that which is always ever present, never subject to change, always there, permanently. That is consciousness. That is what Vedanta aims to reveal to each one of us. The consciousness principle is the subject, the only sentience, the only conscious subject principle, the spirit. It's non-material consciousness, which is non-energy consciousness. It is the witnessing Chaitanya principle. And we experience through the three states, but more clearly through the awakening state. So we can say that we don't quite experience, but by inference, we know that I cannot experience a dream without experience consciousness. So therefore, consciousness is there allowing me to experience a certain duality in a certain state, which is the dream state. Even when I have my deep sleep, consciousness is there allowing me to have that beautiful Anandamaya kosha experience. This is God, okay? Sakshi Chaitanya is God. So this God, since we are not able to see it as non-material subject until we are ready to claim that temporarily, what do we do? So here Swami is saying that this true subject principle is non-material, is the most subtle of the subtle, as it said, not available through the sense organs and the mind. So how are we gonna know it? By claiming that I am that God, I am that non-material subject consciousness principle. It's not easy to claim it with conviction. Until we are ready to claim it with full conviction, what do? The non-material, attributeless, divine consciousness, we represent it temporarily as God. Okay? God is my true nature. But until I can own and say, I am that God, I am that consciousness. When we say I am that God, we must remember I am that Nirguna God, okay? Saguna God is another deal. We can never say I am that all-knowing entity, omniscient, omnipresent, total knowledge. But I can say I am that Nirguna God. But it's tough to say that when it refers to God. You can say I am that consciousness, but then people get mixed up with the mind. Okay? I am that attributeless consciousness. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Attributeless consciousness. Okay. Anyhow, I'm still trying to objectify rather than that claim it to be the I, the subject. So therefore, the scriptures, the Vedantic scripture presents the concept of DEVAH, God. So have it as God. God is the principle that is giving you, lending you the miracle of life, sentience, consciousness, and so on. Until you can understand that this God is your true nature, it's not something other than yourself. In the beginning, it's better you use this term God. Knowing that if it's Rama, Navami, then Rama or any other Krishna, but this is not the ultimate reality, the truth, because all these gods are objects of your worship. So how you jump from dual worship, dual devotion to non-dual devotion is by claiming, I am that Nirguna Brahman. The real God is not an object of worship, but it's the nature, the very true nature of the very worshipper. Is the subject consciousness. That's why in one of the dhyana verses, it is said, aham iti eva, blah, blah, blah. So he did not translate. Let's see if the translation appears here. That is the ultimate goal. It means I am that God, I am that Brahman, something like that. That's the ultimate goal. So what is this DEVAH? AVASTHA, TRAYA, Sakshi Chaitanya is pure, limitless consciousness, which is going to be defined, which is being defined. We have addressed it already in the previous class, in the second verse, second mantra by the Acharya, a very profound mantra which contains the entire Vedanta teachings. That means the mantra deals with 3 topics. It's very beautiful, this answer. It deals, if we read it again, it will say the nature of God, is defined in that very verse. The nature of knowledge of God, the knowledge I am God, the nature of this self-knowledge, the nature of God is something other than yourself, the nature of self-knowledge, knowing I am God, and the phalam derived from this knowledge, I am that God. All these 3 principles, the nature of God, the nature of self-knowledge, and the fruits of self-knowledge are condensed in this beautiful verse, which is the entire Kenopanishad. And then he says, so Kenopanishad is going to be over, but there will be some repercussions or unfoldments. We're going to have some fun. Right? We meet again this coming Friday, 1 hour later, okay? With the Gita. We should be very close to conclude the 6th chapter of the Gita. Yeah? Very close. Okie dokie. Anything else? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Arrivederci.
Thank you, Orlando.
Till Friday. Bye.
Thanks, Melinda.
Thank you.
Bye now.